It's 2 a.m. in 2nd century Rome. Beneath a military barracks, a blindfolded recruit is led into a stone chamber. His armor has been stripped away, leaving him vulnerable in the flickering torchlight. His hands are bound tight with rough cords, and the cold steel of a blade is pressed against his chest. He trembles, waiting for the end, but instead he hears a chant rise from the shadows. This isn't a crime. It isn't a military punishment. This is church. Welcome to the Cult of Mithras, the secret society that claimed the souls of Rome's toughest legionaries. For centuries, from the drizzly frontiers of Britain to the sun-scorched deserts of Syria, Roman soldiers gathered in secret to worship a mysterious god. Their faith was one of brotherhood, loyalty, and cryptic rituals that promised salvation. But unlike the grand open-air temples dedicated to Jupiter or Mars, the followers of Mithras met underground, in hidden sanctuaries called Mithraea. These weren't just basements. They were meticulously designed microcosms of the universe. Imagine a long, narrow, windowless chamber, built to resemble a cave. Stone benches line the walls, not for prayer, but for feasting together as a brotherhood. The ceiling is often painted dark blue and dotted with stars, creating the illusion that you're dining under the night sky. At the far end of this cosmic dining hall, illuminated by the warm glow of oil lamps, stands the centerpiece of their entire faith. And to understand Mithraism, you have to understand this one, singular, powerful image. In every single Mithraeum ever discovered, archaeologists find the same scene, the Tauroctony. It shows the god Mithras in his distinctive Phrygian cap, plunging a dagger into the neck of a sacred bull. It looks brutal, like a ritual sacrifice frozen in time. But it's so much more than that. Look closer. A dog leaps to lick the bull's wound, a snake slithers towards the blood, and a scorpion latches onto the bull's genitals. These aren't random animals. To modern eyes, it's a bizarre and violent tableau, but many historians now believe it's not a depiction of a literal event. It's a star map. The bull represents the constellation Taurus. The scorpion is Scorpio. The dog is Canis Minor. The snake is Hydra. This entire scene is an intricate astronomical chart, encoding secret knowledge about the precession of the equinoxes, the slow wobble of the Earth's axis that changes which star is the North Star over thousands of years. Mithras isn't just killing a bull. He's demonstrating his power over the entire cosmos, his ability to move the heavens themselves. This was the profound mystery at the heart of the cult, a secret revealed only to those who proved themselves worthy. And proving your worth was no small task. To ascend within the cult, an initiate had to pass through 7 grades of initiation, each more demanding and terrifying than the last. The journey began at the rank of Corax, the Raven. As the lowest level, the Corax served the others during the ritual feasts, a messenger just like his namesake. The next step was Olympus to bridegroom. Here the initiate would be offered a crown on a sword. He had to refuse it, declaring, "Mithras is my crown." This symbolized his spiritual marriage to the god. Then came Mile the soldier. This is where things got intense. The initiate would be baptized with a brand of hot iron, marking him as a soldier of Mithras forever bound to his divine general. The 4th grade was Leal the lion. Members of this rank had honey poured on their hands and tongues of ritual purification to cleanse them of all impurity. The lions were associated with fire and were forbidden from touching water during their rites. Above them was Perses the Persian. This rank connected the cult to its supposed Eastern origins. The Persian was the guardian of the sacred fruits of creation, and his symbol was the scythe. The 6th grade was Heliodromus, the sunrunner. Now, the initiate was getting close to the divine truth. He acted as the emissary of the sun god, Sol, carrying a torch and wearing a radiant crown, mimicking the sun's journey across the sky. Finally, at the pinnacle of the hierarchy, was the potter, the father. He was the master of the local cult, the high priest who presided over the ceremonies and held the deepest secrets of Mithras. He was the earthly representative of the god himself, a figure of ultimate authority and wisdom within the brotherhood. Each step was a test of courage, loyalty, and faith, forging a bond between the men stronger than any legionary oath. So if this cult was so popular among Roman soldiers and officials, why isn't a pope in Rome called a potter? Why did this powerful faith disappear? The answer lies in its greatest rival, Christianity. The similarities between the two religions were so striking that early Christians were deeply troubled by them. Mithraism had a form of baptism, a communal meal of bread and wine that resembled the Eucharist, and its followers believed in a final judgment and the resurrection of the soul. Mithras himself was said to have been born from a virgin rock on December 25th, the winter solstice, a date later adopted for Christmas. The Christian writer Justin Martyr was so baffled by the parallels that he concluded the devil must have copied Christian rites to mock them. He wrote that wicked devils have imitated the Mass and the mysteries of Mithras, but it was a rivalry that Mithraism was destined to lose. The fall of Mithras came down to a few key factors. First, its exclusivity. The cult was for men only, cutting out half the population. It was also expensive to be a member. You had to contribute to the feasts and the upkeep of the Mithraeum. And most importantly, it was a secret society. You had to be invited in. Christianity, on the other hand, was for everyone. It was open to men, women, slaves, and the poor. Its message of universal salvation was simple, powerful, and free. As Christianity grew in power, it began to actively suppress its rivals. Archaeologists have found clear evidence of this religious war. In places like the Basilica of San Clemente in Rome, you can literally descend through layers of history. At the very bottom you'll find a perfectly preserved Mithraeum. Above it, you can see the ruins of the 1st century house it was built into, and directly on top of that, a 4th century Christian church was built, its foundations deliberately crushing the pagan sanctuary below. The message was clear: a new god was in town. The age of Mithras, the soldier's god, was over. The secrets of the cosmos, once whispered in torchlit caves, were buried and forgotten, waiting centuries to be rediscovered. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed diving into the lost worlds of history, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.